And we're now in chapter 9. Remember, a major theme here is who's going to believe there's a war and who's going to believe there is not a war. But it is inevitable that the reality of war will invade the school, and it's about to in a big way. But Gene comes out of his time trial, he's happy, he forgot his self-pity, he ran with self-pity free, and he thinks now that peace is indivisible, cannot be divided, and he has no sense of the war, even though the war is happening. And then the boys have to watch an Army recruiter's film. Does the Army recruiter's film show men having their limbs blown off? Men bleeding? Does it show us the first 10 minutes of the film Saving Private Ryan? No. The recruiter's film shows a clean, fun, exciting picture of the war, of men skiing, a ski patrol or a skiing unit. Looks like real fun. Well, I don't know if catching a bullet in the head is much fun. And Lepper comes out of this with saying that the war is a test, and only those who evolve in the right way will survive. Well, he's bought the recruiting film. And that's unfortunate because of what's going to happen to him. And he decides, based on this film, to enlist. And he does enlist. Unlike Hadley Brinker, who has not enlisted. And they all see Lepper off, and he leaves. He just drops out of school. No one is inspired by Lepper's leaving. The war becomes totally unimaginable to them. And they don't mention war, and they don't mention Lepper Lepellier either. I believe it was a custom with the Native American women when the men went off to battle, not to mention their names or talk about them, so that they would not harm them. And these boys are doing the same thing. They all secretly hopes that Lepper will be okay, will survive. Gene says that he doesn't know everything about himself, and really he's being too hard on himself because none of us knows ourselves completely. We are works in progress. But they all hope that Lepper is heroic. Well, they're about to find otherwise soon. Phineas, on the other hand, doesn't want to talk about the war. He doesn't want to contribute to their war talk. Remember, he doesn't want to believe there's a war. He doesn't believe in war. He doesn't believe war is necessary. It's totally foreign to his personality. And so that's how he is. And he tries to draw Gene away from the butt room where the boys are smoking, and he tries to draw him away from that crowd and from his so-called friends into a world where it's just Gene and Finney, and there's no war. But for Gene to be in Finney's world, he's going to have to believe there is no war. And that's going to be difficult. Because again, there's a war going on in Gene between his love for Finney and his envy for Finney. I don't think we can say hate. At this time of the year, winter happens, and look at the terms that are used. They're all military terms. Gene says winter conquers, overruns, and destroys everything. Those are military terms from an offensive. Here's my cat talking again. Finney's attitude, though, is winter's not depressing at all. Winter's a time for fun, and so he organizes this event called a winter carnival. And there's no war in a winter carnival. This is about fun. And so he organizes it. Brinker, on the other hand, is withdrawing from school activity. He wants to be less civilian and more military. But he does say, Finney, this is the first thing you've done since you came back. Before that, you were non-functional. It's a dumb thing to say. Nobody is non-functional. If you're non-functional, you're dead. Finney is not dead. Nobody's dead. Chet Douglas is not an important member of the class, Gene says. Remember that Chet Douglas Gene regards him as his chief competition for being valedictorian, but remember, Chet's a learner. Gene is a grade grubber. And that's how it goes. But to be important in the class, You gotta have this underlying, obliging, considerate strain, and you gotta be rude and you gotta be edgy. So it's not a very friendly world that Gene is in. You gotta be rude, you gotta be edgy, you gotta cut up people to get to where you wanna be. But it doesn't, Finney says, no, it doesn't have to be that way. It can be some other way. It can be better. And lo and behold, despite having a bad leg and being injured, Finney does a dance. He improvises. And Gene looks at him and he says, you know, he has this gift for existing in space. And he's right. And maybe that is Finney's real essence. He wasn't just a good athlete. He had a gift for existing in space. And that's why he can still dance a little bit. And Gene surpasses himself in liberation. And he escapes from winter and he achieves a peace with Finney, a separate peace. And that's Finney's biggest accomplishment. So Finney is winning Gene over to peace, not war. Well, we'll see how long that lasts.